Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, in today's video, we will talk about this viral trend on TikTok called the orange pill theory. Now, if you have a TikTok account, you're probably familiar with this already. It was all over the internet. I'm a little late on this trends because I don't have a TikTok account. I saw Matt Walsh reacting to this on YouTube and I thought, this is so silly, but very interesting. So I decided to talk about it. I'm talking about the orange pill theory. And if you're not familiar with this is one of those trends where the woman, because 99% of the time, 99.9% of the times, is the women doing these trends to really challenge or test the man, see how he's going to react, what he's going to say, is he going to participate in this, little task that he needs to perform. Okay, so if you're not familiar, according to an article from time.com, the orange pill theory suggests that the small acts of service and a partner's willingness to perform them indicate a healthy relationship. So this TikToker made this trend and it became viral, and of course a lot of women started doing this trend, filming it of course. And this is not just about really peeling the orange. Okay, so you're supposed to ask the man to peel the orange for you, and depending on his reaction, his willingness to participate, that is supposed to be an indication of either a healthy or not so healthy relationship. So the TikToker actually, provided a breakdown of what this trend is about. So according to her, if someone asks you to peel their orange, you might think they're perfectly capable of doing that themselves. That's not a big deal. But this is not just about peeling an orange, of course. It might not literally be about peeling the orange. They're asking you for a small favor to see your reaction, to see if later they can ask you for bigger favors. How are you going to make them feel when they ask you for that help? Their response is indicative of much bigger things than just merely peeling an orange, said the TikToker. Even a super tiny thing like that reveals so much about their attitude towards you and your relationship. And she notes that acts of service, regardless of how small they might be, are simply about expressing kindness without any conditions or expectations. It's about wanting to do things for someone to see them happy, even if it's an inconvenience to you or even if there's nothing in it for you, she said in her video. And she said if the man is willing to perform this little task or acts of service, that at the end of the day, it is a sign of a true, raw, unconditional love. All right. That's so sweet. All right. So I saw, of course, that video became viral and a lot of women started doing this challenge. I call this a challenge, asking their boyfriend, their husband to peel the orange. And the reactions are mixed. Some men are more than happy to do it, no questions asked. Some are a little bit wondering why you're asking me to do this. And then some just flat out said, no, you can do that yourself. So I was talking to my husband about this and I asked him, how would you feel if I asked you to peel an orange for me? My husband's like, that's no big deal. I can do that. No problem. But why are you asking? Because we know that this is a very simple thing. Why do you have to ask when you can literally do that yourself? So I told him about this challenge and he said, this is not about peeling the orange. This is about mind games. And I agree. This is about mind games. My husband has a term for this and I thought it was a very fitting, very funny term. And he said, this is all about the ninja mind games. I was like wondering, where did you come up with that term? It's very funny. All right, so this is all about testing the partner, testing the man. And we know for a fact, after being married for this long, most majority of men, at least my husband, don't like to be tested. And that testing your partner can be a double-edged sword because it's all fun and games for as long as I'm the one playing the game, playing a game on you, but then you flip the table, it's no more fun, when you're the one being tested. And I think there needs to be some self-reflection here. What is your intention? Why are you testing your partner? Is this because you want to know him better? You want to see his reaction? Or is this about this thing called doubt? You're already doubting him and you know for a fact he's going to make a mistake and you want to catch him make a mistake. Because with women, and I'm saying this because I'm a woman, we tend to think so much and we overanalyze things. And in that process, we go to a dark place. And when you go to that dark place, you start to evil surmise, like it's winding. Your brain's working. And then you create these scenarios that might happen, might never, or may not ever happen. But in your mind, they're there. And so you create those, scenarios, and you already are preparing on how you're going to handle the scenario. That's Women can be very complicated, okay? You probably know that already. So my husband was saying, if this is about peeling the orange, I think majority of men would be more than happy to do that for the woman they like or the woman they love. But the fact that the women are filming this, now that's something else, because social media has created a new breed of people, the type of people that just wants attention all the time, 24/7. And that's not good, because once your partner starts realizing, oh, this is either she's testing me to see my reaction because she's doubting, or she wants, she want to put this out there on social media. This is just for entertainment on my expense, and that's not good. And there are times where there might not be doubt there, or there's probably nothing to really doubt about. But if the woman has a past negative experience from her past relationship, she will have that doubt, not necessarily doubting her man, the present man, but she had that negative experience from the past relationship, and then she takes that to this relationship. So she have that kind of insecurity, and that's not good, because that would obviously affect this current relationship. You're doubting this guy even though he's not doing anything wrong at all. It's because you had this past negative experience, and that's not good. And so my husband said, instead of this mind games, and this is something that I've learned as well, when I was very, very young, just got married, I had this kind of mindset that, well, since he loves me, since, he knows me, he should know what I'm thinking. Yes, it sounds weird, but women tend to have this kind of expectation that you should be able to read my mind. You should know what I need. But the reality is, after, being married for this long, my husband and I has come to an agreement that he cannot read my mind. I have learned that no matter how much he loves me, he cannot read my mind. So if I need something from him, instead of testing and playing these mind games, the best thing to do is to just directly asking him. So instead of testing, how about directly talking to your partner about your needs rather than setting up a test? Because testing your partner can lead to more stress and strain in your relationship, because you may not you may not get the reaction, or what if he says no? So now what? Now that becomes more of a problem, because now your doubt has turned into reality, because you're like, oh, he's not willing to do that for me. So let's talk about those small acts of service. The acts of service needs to be a two-way street. Seems like while I was watching these videos, I noticed something. There's a lot of me, too much me. What are you willing to do for me? Are you willing to do this small favor for me? And if you're willing to do that, are you going to do the bigger favors for me? There's too much me on this challenge. And the questions I saw was, to what degree are you willing to, or able to, or wanting to take care of me? Again, there's just too much me on this challenge. The reality is, if you want a healthy relationship, you must also reflect on your own behavior, and you must actively participate in those small acts of kindness. And understanding towards your partner is essential. Now, if that is your expectation of your man, him doing these little favors for you, these little things for you, then you better be ready to do the same. So if he's in the couch watching his ball games, and then he calls you, babe, make me a bowl of guacamole and get me a bag of chips, you're gonna have to be more than willing to do that, because if you expect him to have that kind of reaction when you ask him to do something for you, it has to be the same when he asks you, right? Because if that is not your reaction, and yet you expect him to have that willingness to perform this little task for you, well, that's not fair, because again, this needs to be a two-way street. Because when you do that for your partner, you are actively participating in the small acts of service, and you understand his needs. The payoff, as it turns out, goes beyond your relationship. And of course, for you and your partner to really know each other's needs, there has to be some type of connection there. You know, one time I was going to church, and then this pastor had this really good sermon, and I thought I liked the sermon so much that I actually wrote that sermon in a note. I still have that note. It's been like 2 decades now, and it's hanging in my fridge. And the pastor mentioned that the intimacy between a husband and wife is very important, because when you connect, you understand each other, you know each other's needs. So if you want to have that kind of relationship with your man, him knowing what you need, him understanding your needs, you're gonna have to actively participate in making sure that you connect with each other. Because again, the expectations needs to be both ways. If you expect him to be doing these little things for you, then be ready to do those little things for him. Because no matter how much this man loves you, because she mentioned there that if the man is willing to do these little acts of kindness, if he's willing to peel an orange for you, then most likely he'll be willing to do the bigger things for you, like paying your rent, right? And if he's willing to do that, then that is a sign of, true, what is this you said? That at the end of the day, that is a sign that is a true, raw, unconditional love. Well, the reality is there's no such thing as unconditional love. You may have that kind of feeling in the very early stages of your relationship, but at the end of the day, if you want a lasting relationship, you're going to have to be actively participating and contributing to this thing called the lab bank. I'm going to put it here. It's a term that I don't know if I've heard it or if they just made it, I don't know, but the concept is basically having like a savings account, okay? The lab bank, the lab account. If you want to be able to get interest out of that account, first of all, you have to open it with enough funds to establish that account. And if you don't want to deplete that account to where it ends up shutting down, then you're going to have to be actively contributing, and then you take the interest. Both parties have to be actively participating and contributing to this account for it to grow and flourish. You can't just be there expecting to be treated like a queen and then you don't treat him like a king. That's not fair. And no matter how much he likes you, how much he loves you, no matter how much attractive you are, at the end of the day, he's going to get tired of that, because we're human and we want to be loved too. If you want to be loved, you're going to have to give. It's a give and take. So instead of expecting him to just do these things for you what I'm trying to say is something is missing in this challenge. After the man peels this orange, and him being willing to peel this orange, there should have been a follow-up, like, oh, thank you so much for peeling the orange for me. Now can I do something for you? Do you want me to massage your back? Do you want me to make you a cup of coffee? Something. It has to be something. It always has to be a give and take, because you can't just be taking and taking and taking. Sooner or later, you will find out this person's tired of it, and then that bank, the love bank, is depleted, and then what happens? It shuts down. So that is the video for today. If you have anything you'd like to add, you're more than I can't talk anymore. You're more than welcome to do that in my comment section below. Bye guys, I'll see you in my next vlog.